So I'm very simply starting out with some pre-cut pieces of paper. My first one here is 3.5 inches by 3 inches, and that is going to be the body of my little puppet here. And now I just used some white cardstock that I colored to a nice warm skin tone here. And then for the shirt for my little person, it is also 3.5 inches by about 1.25 inches. And then for the sleeves, 3 inches by 1/2 inch. And I drew and cut out some little hands. And if you want some other decorative elements, a piece that I can use for my nose, as well as eyes here and paper for the hair. All right, so now let's get started. I'm going to start with my 3 inch by 3.5 inch piece of paper for the body, and I'm going to use a glue stick, and I'm going to roll my paper around it, and then I am going to glue my cardstock paper together here. And I'm using a mix of cardstock and decorative paper. You can use plain computer paper that you've colored and decorated. Any of that will work. And so I'm gonna wrap that paper tightly around, secure it down, and hold it down for a few seconds to make sure it's good and well glued. So I'm gonna start now by adding the shirt, and I have a double-sided sheet of paper here, and I'm gonna start by folding it in half. Now, if I take this little corner here and cut it off diagonally, I will have a V shape at the front of my shirt. If I do a little quarter circle, I will have a little rounded neckline here. I'm actually gonna do something a tiny bit different. I'm gonna cut down just a little bit, and then I'm gonna fold that back to create a fun red collar there, and I'm gonna glue it down. You want to make sure that that paper is really nice and tight all the way around. If it's a little bit loose, go back and tighten it. All right, so now I'm going to use this little piece as my collar to go all the way around. And if there's a little bit of extra, I can just pinch it off or cut it off. All right, so now that I've got the cute little collar happening, I'm ready to add my arms. I think I want the red side to show with my arms. So I'm gonna go ahead and glue the little hand piece that I drew, cut out, and colored. In fact, I'm just gonna put glue all the way down with my thumbs here facing up. All right, and I'm gonna line up that sheet of paper, press it together, make sure it's nice and secured. And there are my arms. And now I'm going to glue my arms to the middle of the back here. I can kind of bend them back a little bit. All right, so now to get started on the facial features, and we are going to start with the nose. So because the finger puppet is so small, I've prepared 2 larger nose templates to help you give an idea of some different designs that you can do. So this first one here is a triangle with a Y-type curve at the top, and I just simply folded a piece of paper in half, drew kind of this J shape with the paper, with the long part of the J along the fold here, and then opened it up. And I have a piece that will work as nose and eyebrows. In a white sheet of paper for contrast, you can see what that would look like. The second nose type I have here is a triangle pop-up nose. So I have my main triangle here, which is tall and narrow, with my dotted line down the center for where my fold mark is going to be in the middle. And then I have two triangle wings on each side, which are close to the width of this middle section here. And they're going to be flaps that wrap around the back to help give it some of the pop-up. So let me show you how that's going to work. So I'm going to start by folding my two outer triangles into the center. And you'll notice now I have these little bottom tails. And before I cut those off, I'm actually going to go ahead and glue my flaps together because that's going to change the shape a bit. So you can already see it's getting some 3-dimension because I overlapped those two back flaps. So now then, I'm going to go ahead and cut the tails off, and along that dotted line, I can pinch my nose. So there you see I have a 3-dimensional nose piece. Now this is a very big version of that nose, and it would be much smaller actually on my finger puppet. So here is my tiny version, and I'm going to glue it on. You can make either type of nose, whichever you prefer. Alright, so I've added my nose, and now I'm going to add my mouth. I'm going to just cut a smile out and glue it down. And now I need my eyes. So I have two colors here for my eyes, which I am gluing down. And then I also have some little sheets that are like an eyeball here. Or I can use a white sheet of paper and put a black dot in the middle. So last but not least, I need some hair for my little finger puppet. So I'm just going to draw the front of the hair piece right now, and I want to make it longer so that it can go all the way around my person. And then I'm going to cut it out. So now I have some hair, which I am going to glue on. If I want to make some longer pieces of hair, I very simply can cut some strips of paper. I'm going to trim them all down, and then I can cut some thinner and secure with glue. And there I have my little finger puppet. Thank you for joining us today for Paper Play.